Hi, I'm David Preston, and today on Cook Like a Bastard, we're going to be commemorating the loss of a great snack cake. That's right, today we're going to be making Twinkies like a bastard.
Bastard! Bastard! He cooks like a bastard, so can you! Bastard! Bastard! He's not a bastard, but cooks like one too! Bastard! Bastard! Don't miss that little something and cook like a bastard today!
I know we were all a little bit, lost for words when we heard that there'd be no more Twinkies, no more cupcakes, no more fruit pies, no more Wonder Bread. But the loss of the Twinkie, the snack cake that we thought would last forever, and in fact, it probably will. In fact, I know that Bill Clinton in 1999 put some in the millennial time capsule to see what's going to happen 100 years from now. They'll probably be here. Well, today we're going to make some Twinkies, and they're not going to have the same shelf life, but they're going to be one heck of a lot better. And we're going to get right at it right now. And we're going to start with this, and we'll start with a half cup of cake flour. So I'm going to put a half cup of the cake flour and a quarter cup of all-purpose flour in here. In there, just like that. About a quarter teaspoon of salt, and I'll put a little bit of baking powder in here. And this is about 1 teaspoon. Actually, it's exactly 1 teaspoon. See, we are really concerned about this Twinkie recipe that we're bringing to you today, that we want to be a little more precise than we usually are, because we want this to work well, because Twinkies, we feel you're lost. And together we can save you. We can save you through this technology we have here called the interweb. So I'm going to just mix this up here pretty quickly. And the next thing I'm going to be doing is melting a little butter in some milk. So I just got a tiny bit of milk here as I'm going on the stove. Turn this on low here. And then I'm going to put in about a half stick of butter with about, a couple tablespoons of milk, not much. And I'm going to slowly let this melt together. So we let the butter melt into the milk, and then we're going to add about a half teaspoon of vanilla in here and mix that in. After we mix that in, we're just going to cover it and keep it warm while we work on the rest of the recipe. Okay, our next step is to separate our eggs. We have 5 eggs here, and we need to separate them. I've never really been big into the egg separation thing. Keep the eggs together. Let's cooperate. Let's pick one. But this recipe actually calls for them to separate. So I went out to the gadget store, got myself a little gadget. This is called an egg separator. So I'm going to see how it works. So bear with me. So I'm going to crack my egg. I'm going to open it like that and try to separate a little bit here. I'm not sure what I'm gaining with this tool, but there it is. Oh, they're separated. Cool. So we got to do this a few times. So I'm going to try it without the machine again. Look at that. Eggs are incredible, aren't they? They really come with their own egg separating shells with them. That might be why they actually have shells. Because which came first, the egg separator or the egg? Exactly. That's an age-old question that may never be answered. But if we can do it, we're going to do it here when we get that crack investigative team of Cook Like a Bastard out there and find out which came first. And one last egg here. Well, my quick experiment with the egg separator, the newfangled one and the old-fangled one. I'm going to choose old-fangled one. But it's not about the fangles, it's about the Twinkies. We're here to make Twinkies because you and your family deserve quality snack cakes. So we are going to whip these things up here, and we're going to see what happens. So I'm going to pour my whites into the mixture. And I'm going to put this down, and I'm going to meet it on high. When was the last time, I asked you this question, when was the last time you had a Twinkie? I couldn't answer that question. I said, oh my word, what else am I going to miss out on because I didn't take advantage of it when it was here? Well, we're going to save you today in this little experiment of making Twinkies, but right now I'm looking at these egg whites and they are almost done, so I don't want to be going to make here. So I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of sugar. And while we're letting this whisk up, we got to admit, really the key ingredient of the whole Twinkie process is a little bit of cream of tartar. And we're going to put that in right now. We're going to put in, I don't even know, maybe a teaspoon, thereabout. And we put that in there. It's important. You can never get enough cream of tartar, or as some people call cream of tartar. They believe that's actually raw steak ground up in little white powder, but that's not what we have here. We have the original cream of tartar. Yes, this is called vamping while we let the mixing process happen. Now we're going to mix these until we have some soft white peaks, which we can see are appearing right now on it. So we're going to move this to another bowl. Let me just pull this out into this bowl here. It works out pretty cool, kind of like magic. I love it when magic stuff like this happens. Those are our egg whites and sugar. And remember, the thing that made this work is the cream of tartar, or as people in conventional worlds call it, tartar. Off of here. This is the air of the sponge cake that we're making. That's pretty cool. I'm kind of impressed about how this thing works. How about you, huh? Have you had a Twinkie before? It's been a long time, hasn't it? All right, so the next thing we do here is that we're going to make another mixture. You don't worry about that you have all this stuff on here, because it's all going to end up together in the end run anyhow. So I am going to add my egg yolks to the mixer. I'm going to put another 6 tablespoons of sugar, which should be the rest of this here because we measured out 12 tablespoons. And I am going to mix this here. We're going to let this mix for about 5 minutes until it becomes lemony color, and we're going to be right back. Quicker than 5 minutes. All right, so how do you get the shape? Well, one way you can do it is that you can take some tin foil like this. This is, about 14 inches of tin foil. And take a spice jar. I'm using thyme as the spice jar, but if you want to use cayenne or another spice jar, that's fine. And then you just use this as your shape. You just wrap it around and you make a little boat. Maybe a little canoe, as it were, for your pan. And you end up with something that looks like this. You could do that, or you can go on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, you can get this here the next day for like $3 for shipping. This is called a canoe pan, sure enough. Who knew they existed? But this is what I'm going to use to mix up the Twinkies and to cook them. Looks like the yolks are done. So I'm going to turn it off, lower this, and I am going to put my egg whites on the top of this thing, which is not all that easy because there's not a lot of room here. You don't want to lose the egg whites because the whole separation process, that took a lot of time. So I'm going to make sure we've done that right. All right, so I've done this, and I'm going to then sprinkle our flour mixture. Remember this? We made this a long time ago, right in the beginning, and we're going to put it on top of the egg whites. We're going to mix this at a low speed for 10 seconds. 2, 3, 4. You know how it goes. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's done. Now I'm going to make a little tiny canal right here on the side to pour the butter mixture in. That's butter and milk mixture. We want to give milk full credit there because it is whole milk we used. Then, this is very important. You're going to mix this whole thing together in 8 strokes. Now remember, we practiced counting to 10. This is easier. You only have to do 8 of them. So let's go around here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And a little extra ones just because, I don't know, it seems right. But for some reason, they said you need to use 8. So the next step comes here pretty easily. We're going to put them into our canoe pans here. I'm going to spray the canoe pans with a little cooking spray just to make sure they don't stick. And I'm also going to make one in my tinfoil canoe too, because I went through all the work of making one. And I think this recipe is actually good for 12 of them, and my canoe pan only holds 8. So I'm going to gently spoon this mixture into here. Look at this. Did you know that this was going to look like this? I had no idea. I thought it was going to look like cake batter. This is why these are creamy good. Damn you, Hostess. I already missed Twinkies, and I can't even tell you last time I had one, but now this is longing for Twinkies. But here on Cook Like a Bastard, we're teaching you how to make your own. And there's a good chance, I'm going to clean this up before we put it in, but there's a good chance these are probably going to taste better than the ones that you spent $1.99 on just recently. As you can see here, we have our little canoe pan about 3/4 full, and I gotta tell you, it was a little bit of a challenge. I think you're up to it, because these are Twinkies, for God's sakes, and you can't get them anywhere except here at Cook Like a Bastard Studio. We're going to put these, well, I guess there are other places when you make them, but before we go on, I gotta cook these things, but I gotta let you know that I am not a bastard. I make Twinkies because I'm a nice guy. I make cooked Twinkies like a bastard. But that's something we need to make clear, just so you understand who's who and what's what. So anyhow, we are going to put these in the oven at 350 degrees for about 13 minutes until they get a little golden brown and kind of spongy. When we put them back, we're going to be back in about 13 minutes, and then we got to make the frosting afterwards. So you can't save time there. So we'll be right back. So we had our Twinkies in the oven for actually about 15 minutes. It says 13 to 15. They took a little while longer to brown than we may have suspected. They seem to collapse just a little bit. I think it's from all the dancing we do while we are in between shots here. So the next thing we need to do is making the creamy filling. Now the first thing you got to do is get a lot of stuff that has a lot of syllables in, because the more syllables, the longer it's going to be preserved. Or you can just follow this recipe here. We're going to start with doing a little double boiler trick here. I'm going to start with my mixing bowl here from my standing mixer, and I'm going to put in about 3 tablespoons of water. I'm going to put some Caro syrup in here, 3/4 cup of sugar, and 3 egg whites. Again, we did this the old-fashioned way. We are going no on the newfangled egg separator. So we put these in here, and we are going to stir these for a couple minutes while we, probably up to 4 minutes while the sugar dissolves. So the trick here is that you need to be cooking the eggs a little bit on a double boiler. You don't want them to actually cook for sure. And don't forget, I also added a pinch of salt to this. So we're going to put this over on our mixture. A little bit of vanilla, teaspoon or so. Then we're going to mix this on high for about 7 minutes. Now it may be a little less time than that. You won't know, but I will tell you when we're back here on Cook Like a Bastard. All right, this has been mixing, and we have some shiny and peaks and glossy stuff happening, so that means this is done. Let me just get this off the whisk there. Whew, that's gonna be cool. I gotta tell ya, I look at these guys here, and I got kind of flat Twinkies. You know, I guess not everything can be a success here at Cook Like a Bastard. Let's dump these things out just to see what they do. Whoa, look at that! They actually turned out to be Twinkies. You know, you're worried about stuff, and you go, but for the love of God, if that doesn't look like a Twinkie, let's try our homemade canoe pan. Just to tell you, the thing you want to do is get one of these canoe pans if you want to be making Twinkies, because look at this. It actually looks like a Twinkie. It looks like a package of Twinkies. All right, so now the next step is, how do you get the insides into the insides? So that's what we're going to try here. This is done, and somehow I have to fill it. Let's get a little taste of this. Huh. It tastes exactly like marshmallows. You know, I was looking, as I was doing my research for this, saw some of the alternatives just to buy some marshmallow cream to use part of your filling. I guess I see why now, but why not make your own? Because that's the way we do things here at the Cook Like a Bastard Studios. We make things as complicated as possible just so they're kind of fun and exciting. Let's just take another look at that marshmallowy goodness we've made. I'm just startled. I'm startled. We might be making s'mores next time. So how do you get the stuff in? So we have our cupcake injector here. We filled it with a little bit of the marshmallow flavoring or whatever it might be. Then you take a chopstick and you make 3 holes in the bottom of the Twinkie. And that's what really makes it an international food, you know. So let's just take a little injector here and fill it up. Let's see what happens until it spits out just a little bit. This is scary and fun at the same time. But isn't everything that happens in the Bastard Studio that way? And not that I'm saying, never mind. So yeah, we're filling it up, injecting it. You watch it grow. This is fun. You know, there are easier ways to make the Twinkies. You can use cake mixes and the like. But I got to tell you, we made ourselves a Twinkie here. We filled it up with golden goodness, and now we get to eat it. We did it again here in the Bastard Studio. We made a fantastic little treat for you. You got the cream goodness in here. This is by far the best Twinkie I have ever had. And you can make them too. You can make it simpler. You can use a cake mix to put them together. Get yourself a canoe pad. Get yourself one of these injectors and have some fun. Make some Twinkies here on Cook Like a Bastard.
He cooks like a bastard, so can you. He's not a bastard, but cooks like one too. Don't miss that little something and cook like a bastard today. Cook like a bastard today.
David, TV.